The good and bad news about retiring alone. You know, my husband is still working and I'm not, at least not like I used to. And there is both some good things about going it alone, and there's some bad things.
As a newly retired person, my mornings, well, they start off just about the same every day with some coffee because I'm not really a morning person. And then I wait for my four-legged fur baby to beat me up because he wants to go to the park. And that's what we do.
And go to the park? We'll do it. You ain't staying long. You know, some mornings I skip the park because the weather's not good. Too cold, too windy. So some days we do skip the park. Truman doesn't like that too much. And hopefully, by the time I get home from the park, I'm hoping my husband's gone. And I said, hopefully my husband's gone, because if he isn't, well, I'm certainly not making any videos because he's loud and on the phone. You know, one of the perks to being the only one retired is you get to kind of do what you want. You have the day to yourself. You can focus on yourself. There are actually a lot of perks. Things that you can do that you may not have been able to do before by having all that time to yourself. And it's not just about me. There are a variety of different benefits if you're the only one in the house not working. And I'll give you a couple. You know, the retired spouse, while the other one's working, you can delay withdrawing from your account because somebody else is bringing the money in. That's one perk. But honestly, being the only one participating in retirement, it's really an excellent time for personal growth. Time for you to focus on maybe some hobbies, your personal physical fitness, because normally when you work, you don't focus on that too much. And start some projects. Maybe you want to redecorate a room in your house that you've been thinking about redecorating for the past 10 years. Your home decorations do get stale, so that's something that you can do as the other person at home, not working. Maybe you've always wanted to volunteer and just didn't have the time before. This is an opportunity to do that. But mostly it's a time for personal development. You can take up hobbies that you just never had time to, or maybe a new part-time career. It's something that you can do. I'm doing YouTube. You could also do that. It's also a time for you to practice your retirement routine, see what works out for you. You could downsize your house. Most people do downsize to a smaller home, less to take care of when they retire, if they can. This could be an opportunity to do that, because when both of you retire and both of you do it at the same time, it's a lot to bite off. Big jolt to your lifestyle. So having one of you do it first can make things a little bit smoother. It can definitely lower your stress level because now you have time to take care of all the things you couldn't take care of before. You're in a much more relaxed state of mind. You can do your shopping, run your errands on your own schedule and pace. You don't have to rush to get things done. And that's good. You also have more time to prepare meals. You know, when you're working full time, the last thing you really do want to do when you get home is to do some more chores, you know, cook dinner and clean up dinner. You know, when both of you are working, we find that we kind of eat on the run. Maybe on the weekends we cook extra, eat a lot of leftovers with the idea that one person isn't working. Well, you can make some nicer meals, and your other partner or spouse will certainly appreciate that. It's also a time to give you an opportunity to spend some time with your family, your grandkids. You know, both of you are working and maybe you just can't fit it into your schedule. Well, if one of you is not working, there's no reason that you can't take a trip to go see the grandkids, see your son or daughter or other family members. Maybe you have a sister or a brother that you haven't seen in a long time. There's no rule that says you have to bring your spouse with you. You can take a little trip and visit family members. That's always a positive thing. And the fact that you're not exhausted all the time because you're working, you could probably put a little bit more energy into your relationship, which wouldn't hurt, because normally both of you are burning the candle at both ends and don't have time for jack. So and as I mentioned before, maybe take up either a hobby or a passion that you have. You could do that as a part-time job. If there's something you've always wanted to do, well, this is the time to do it. Maybe you just want to learn to play a game of golf or some pickleball. A lot of times you can't fit those things in when you're working. Actually, the choices pretty much are endless. And me personally, and maybe this is just me, I like my alone time. You know, there's a lot of things I feel like I can't get done when my husband's home, particularly when it comes to creative projects like videoing. But sometimes you just want some quiet time to do what you want to do. And I can certainly appreciate that. But it doesn't come with challenges too. There's some downsides to being the first to retire and why your spouse hasn't caught up yet. There's definitely some downsides to it. So let's talk about that. Well, let's start off with the selfish stuff. For me, it's not being able to travel like I really want to. I don't want to travel alone by myself. There are places that I'd like to go and things I'd like to do and see, and I would like my husband to go with me. But he's working, so you're kind of ball and chained unless you want to do it by yourself. And personally for me, there's just certain things I wouldn't want to do by myself. Yeah, visit my family, sure. I can go do that by myself. You know, I go to the park with my dog. There's all kinds of things I do by myself, but to actually pack up and take a vacation somewhere by myself, you know, I either have to take my dog with me or my dog stays at home and gets neglected because my husband works 10 hours a day. And I don't like that idea. So that is a challenge for me. And personally, even my dog is a challenge right now. Unfortunately, he's having some health problems, and this has put a wrench into a few things. Like if I wanted to travel with him someplace on a weekend trip, well, right now that's just not possible. I have a French bulldog. They have a lot of health issues. While he's adorable, I love him. He's got spinal issues, and this can be a huge challenge. So, little challenge for Lisa during the retirement. Health problems with the dog. And speaking of negative consequences, let's say you are someone that would go traveling all by yourself. Well, could cause some jealousy, resentment. Maybe your partner doesn't like that idea that you're running off and leaving them all by themselves. There's that. And something to seriously consider. Could drive a wedge between the two of you and even promote some distance, which may not be good. And for certain people, it can cause a financial strain. Maybe you do need those two incomes, or at least one of your spouse thinks you need two incomes. Could force you to spend less money, and unless both people are on the same page with that, it could be an area of stress. And one of the parties in the relationship may feel like the retired person isn't contributing as much. I get that, but the way I look at it is you put your dues in. If you saved and you have your own retirement account, they shouldn't feel that way. But people are people. So, pick up the slack and take up some more household chores, possibly to offset their concept that you're not contributing as much. That's my suggestion. And if you're out living life and having a good time, your spouse might be a little jealous and might feel left out. These are things that you should probably talk about before one of you decides not to work anymore. Make sure that it's not going to cause an issue within your household. And definitely one of the things you need to do if one of you is retired and the other is not, is to make sure you do some joint activities together. So the other partner, spouse, does not feel left out while you're out having a good time. What's weird about the situation is maybe you're the retired one and you're struggling a little bit to find your new identity as someone who doesn't have a job. And at the same time, your partner is jealous that you don't have a job. So it can bring some unusual emotions that you should probably mull over before you do it. Here's one for you. One of the partners retires early and may feel impatient, waiting for the other to join them in full retirement. Retirement's a major transition, and when one party retires when the other one doesn't, it does require you to have really good communication with the two of you and make sure you're on the same page. With the right planning and compromise, I think the two parties can maintain a healthy balance in their relationship. I worry that when my spouse finally does retire, maybe I won't be able to do it. Maybe I'll have to stay close to home because I have a parent that's aging. I have lots of things like that going through my mind. So it's good to keep an open line of communication with everybody involved if you can, so that you can have a happy and healthy retirement. Maybe you know someone who's retired and their spouse isn't. Maybe you're that person. I'd love to know. If you know of anybody that's going through it, if you have any advice for those of us who are going through it. Everybody's situation is different. I'm just trying to navigate with what I have right now. Juggling quite a few things between my dog's health problems, parents who are mentally losing it. I've got a full plate. Keeps things interesting. The key to being retired, I think, is having purpose and having a routine. And I made a video on that. And I'm gonna pop it at the end for you to watch. And I'd like to say thank you for spending part of your day with me. It's greatly appreciated. Never want to take that for granted. you gave me part of your day. And that made me happy. And I hope I'll see you here again. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, hit the bell so you know when I upload again. And I hope I see you here again. Take care.